Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Wimbledon 2022 final preview. Novak Djokovic versus Nick Kyrgios. Yes, you heard that right. Nick Kyrgios. Who would have thought in the past, 3 to 4 years before this tournament, during the tournament, that he was going to be the one in the final? There was like whispers like, oh, could it happen? Could it happen? Everyone was saying, oh, I don't know if he'll even make the semi-finals. When the draw opened up, Berrettini fell out, of course, because of illness, testing positive. Nadal gave him the route to the final by pulling out, so he hasn't had to have played a semi-final. Will that affect him? We'll talk about that as well, whether it's an advantage or disadvantage. And on top of that, he holds a 2-love head-to-head record against Novak Djokovic, albeit best of 3 matches, but still. Djokovic quoted saying, "This is going to be an exciting match with fireworks," and I cannot agree more. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be a fantastic match. We're going to break it down. I'm going to go through their routes to the final. We're going to talk about it from a tactical standpoint and what both players can expect from each other. How can they combat it? What might they have issues with? On top of also just catering in, of course, their more historical results. Djokovic is very experienced in slams. It's Kyrgios' first slam. What's the mental aspect going to be like? The crowd, how's that going to play? We're going to talk about it all. Before we get into it, though, remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. As always, if you're a podcast listener or watcher, remember to leave a rating, review, or subscribe, follow us, all that good stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, you legends. Okay, let's get into it. Novak Djokovic just beat Cam Norrie today in 4 sets. Very sluggish in the first set, then kind of just rose from second to third gear and got it done in 4 sets and got it done pretty comfortably in the end. Will Kyrgios be encouraged by that? Maybe. Djokovic, not in his best. And, he showed some of his best tennis, no doubt, against Jannik Sinner, and he had to. But against Norrie, he didn't really have to. And you just feel like he will rise to the occasion. If Kyrgios, for example, is serving how we know he can serve and has been serving, Djokovic most likely will increase his level accordingly. And I kind of feel like that's the type of player he is generally. For Kyrgios, he's had a very good tournament, of course. It's his first ever Grand Slam final. He knows, I think, this is a massive opportunity for him, and it could be an opportunity for him to win his first slam. It's an opportunity for him to potentially do something that a lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to do in his career. Not just that, who knows when he might be in this position, even again. But no matter Djokovic and these guys who won 20 slams, it's different. He's never even made the semi-finals of a slam. All of a sudden, he's in a final. We'll see how he handles it, of course, as well. But he's been serving incredibly well, Kyrgios, as you would expect. And the best thing for him as well is that the second serve is also a weapon. And he doesn't hit many double faults on it either. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. His fitness has been really good. He's been getting around the court nicely. He's been clearly taking it seriously. There hasn't been as many underarms. There haven't been as many hot dogs or tweeners. He's kind of just kept them for the opportune moments, but he hasn't overplayed them, which is great. Love it. And on top of it, I just think he has generally been in a better mindset mentally, because the fact that he pulled out of the men's doubles, to me, indicates that he thought, okay, this is a chance for me to go deep. Not only has he gone deep, he's potentially one step away from a Grand Slam title. For Novak Djokovic, of course, it's so significant. He could potentially win his 21st slam. He could potentially win his 7th Wimbledon. He could, by winning his 21st slam, he'd be 1 behind Nadal. Now, most likely he won't be able to play the US, but either way, it's still very significant. And it would be his 4th straight Wimbledon title. So he is arguably the second best grass court player. He may go down as the best when all is said and done, to be fair. Right, okay, let's talk about it more from a tactical point of view. Actually, before we do, let me just quickly run through their routes to the final. So let's go through Djokovic's first. So beating Kwon in the first round. Look, a little bit of trouble. Lost the set, but in the end, 1-4. Kokkinakis, who a lot of people thought he would have trouble with, he had zero trouble with, absolutely blitzed him. Same with Kecmanovic. Then Van Ritterveen was a bit different. He's very hungry. He's had a fantastic grass court swing, and yeah, he did take a set off Djokovic, but in the end, Djokovic being victorious. I would say Sinner has been his toughest test so far. Of course, came back from 2 sets to love down, and really, really, really good from Djokovic in large periods of that match. And I have to say, we did see some of his best tennis then. And then against Norrie today, I mean, look, got it done in 4 sets. Didn't really, for me, get out of a second gear. And then he put the Lacoste cap on. And then from the second set onwards, he did play better. But again, I would say he was in third gear for most of it. Right, let's then talk about Nick Kyrgios, because I want to talk about how he's played. So first of all, he may not have even made it to the second round because he had a 5-set against Paul Jubb, eventually won in 5 sets, but that was a really tough match. Potentially his toughest of the tournament, although I think there's the Nakashima match probably tops that. Then Krajinovic in straight sets, great win. I think he was like around 50 winners to 10 unforced errors. It was an incredible performance. Tsitsipas as well completely outclassed him. I have to say, of course, there was controversy around it and drama, etc. But let's put that to one side and isolate it as a tennis match. He played really well in that. Tsitsipas, of course, played his part. But Kyrgios just served incredibly well. And I thought he read the Tsitsipas serve well for the most part. And actually had the better of the exchanges from the back of the court. And then Nakashima, that was a really tough one. He's a talented young American. Again, 5-setter for Kyrgios in the end, getting it done. And then Christian Garin, who, Kyrgios gave all the props to after in the post-match presser and said it wasn't as straightforward as the scoreline suggests, but he did get through in straight sets in the end. And of course, he got a walkover against Nadal, so that's why he's in the final as well. Would he have won that match? Potentially, yeah. I mean, he would have had a decent chance, no doubt. In terms of the head-to-head, by the way, as well, the head-to-head is 2-love Kyrgios. They played twice on hard court tournaments in 2017, where Kyrgios won best of 3 affairs, but that doesn't really say much. I know Djokovic hasn't won a set of Kyrgios yet, but they've only played twice. It's best of 5. It's a Grand Slam final. It's on grass. It's just so different, and you just feel like Djokovic is a massive, massive favorite going into this. Not only is he a massive favorite, but he's been here so many times. And so let's talk about the mental aspect, I think, and about the occasion, the crowd, and then we'll finish up in the more kind of juicy elements, which is the tactical, strategic points, and then I'll wrap up my prediction. So the mental aspect is interesting because I feel like if it was on court 1, Kyrgios would prefer it because the court 1 crowd is a bit more rowdy. They'll get behind him more. Centre court's a bit more kind of prim and proper. And I feel like he's more divisive on centre court and maybe doesn't have as much support. Djokovic is a 6-time winner, so you'd expect him to have the majority of the support in the final. I'm not sure how true that's going to be because I have a feeling Kyrgios will still have a lot of support as well, even on centre court. And a lot of people will be cheering him on, especially as he's the underdog as well. So a lot of people in finals generally cheer on the underdog anyway. So we'll see. I think if Djokovic doesn't have the crowd on his side and the majority somehow end up swinging towards Kyrgios, I think mentally it could affect him, no doubt. Gone are the days for me when Djokovic would use it as fuel to motivate him. He doesn't like it. He talked about it after the Roland Garros quarterfinal against Nadal, said that 99% of the crowd were on Nadal's side, and he thought that was a contributor into how Nadal recovered in the 4th set and went on to win it after being 5-3 down. He talked about the fact that the crowd were on his side in the US Open final, and obviously he lost that. But I think he's got a flavor for it, and he is thinking, well, I've won 20 slams. It would be nice if I got my dues, right? Which is understandable, I think, given the fact that he has won 20 slams. He is a GOAT. Like, I think we've got to be a bit fair to him. And hopefully he does, right? Because it's only right, I feel, for Djokovic to get his dues. But we'll see how the crowd goes. I reckon it's going to be pretty 50-50. And then we'll see, because I feel like if Kyrgios does his antics, etc. as well, then I'm not sure how receptive the centre court crowd will be towards that. We'll see. If he starts, really turning it on in terms of his tennis, that's when I guess the crowd will really be on his side. So we'll see. Let's talk about it from a tactical standpoint then. I think from a tactical standpoint, there's a few things to point out. So I normally talk about the serve return dynamic, so we can talk about that first. That's kind of the first point I normally bring up. I think Nick Kyrgios has a serve that can definitely trouble arguably the best returner ever to grace tennis court. And there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is how varied that serve is. And I feel like he will need to go into his serve tool bag and he'll probably have to utilize lots of different serves in different moments, no doubt. The biggest one for me actually is, and I imagine he will utilize it, is the big kick serve out wide from the ad side into the Djokovic backhand. And I do feel like that is one that Novak Djokovic may potentially struggle on. So we'll see. We'll see. That's one that he struggled with against Alcaraz in the Rome. Was it Rome quarterfinals? And obviously ended up losing that just. He also struggled with it against Sinner. Kick serves out wide to the backhand, normally on the second serve. Kyrgios can hit the kick serve, a big kick serve on the first serve, or equally, not equally, but just as effective, I guess, second serve, kick serve as well, because it's got a little bit less on it, but it's more spin. His second serve can range between 100 to 120 miles an hour. So generally, it's a very, very good serve. So that's something that Djokovic, I think, has struggled with, is the backhand return against kick serves. Now, it's still something that I think he's struggling with slightly. So we'll see how he does fare with it. And I guess Kyrgios will test him big time with that serve. So we'll see how Djokovic's backhand return holds up. I would imagine he's going to be expecting it. So he'll be practicing it in, well, I'm assuming he'll be getting some type of practice in for it, or at least thinking about how he needs to position himself in terms of his return position to combat it in the best way. So we'll see. And then we've got, I guess, the other serves, right? So he can hit multiple different serves. He can go the kick serve, he can go flat, and he can also hit a slice serve. He's kind of got everything. He does. Kyrgios on the second serve, it's not, I mentioned it before, it's no way like a lot of people, their second serves are attackable. His isn't really. It's not at all. It's a type of serve that actually you look at it and think, that almost looks like a first serve at times. And it is, because he'll hit almost a first serve on the second serve like Medvedev does at times and has been doing. So that's definitely something to kind of bear in mind as well. And I think, Kyrgios is like one of the biggest servers you will see ever, I think, in terms of just forget about just first serve, but second serve as well. Like he all round, not just speed, but we're talking about the penetration to the court, the effectiveness of the serve. He's got such an effective serve, Nick Kyrgios. So that's going to be the first test, I think, for Novak Djokovic, is how does he combat that? He's only played him twice, so it's not like he's got a massive sample size or he's played him so many times he knows exactly how to combat the serve. Now, Djokovic is an incredible returner, so you'd imagine he will be able to adapt and get through it. But that may be a massive factor in the first set. And of course, we saw Norrie take the first set of Djokovic. Could Kyrgios do it? Maybe. Norrie was in his first ever Wimbledon semi-final or Grand Slam semi-final. It'll be the same for Kyrgios in a final. A final is, of course, a bigger occasion, but still, he's in a similar position in the sense that it's his first ever final. His first ever experience. So we'll see how Kyrgios is able to serve. But if he serves like how he has done the whole tournament, it's going to be very hard for Djokovic to break him, no doubt, especially because not only has he been serving well, but behind the first serve, he's been really good for the most part. He's gone really big with the forehand for the 1+ shot, and it's been very effective. He's come to the net well at times as well. And his volleying, as we know, is very, very good. It's pretty natural. He has great hands in the net. And the backhand is really good as well. It's flat. And I feel like Djokovic won't particularly like hitting or receiving the backhand cross court into his backhand. I'm not sure how much he'll like that. It depends, because if Kyrgios kind of just pushes it back into court, and Djokovic is able to step into it, he won't mind that at all, Djokovic, and he'll then attack on the backhand side. And Kyrgios, I'm not sure how that dynamic goes, because Djokovic could end up slicing on the backhand, and it depends on how Djokovic slices. If he slices as aggressively as we know he can, I don't know, and I don't think Kyrgios is that comfortable actually with the backhand slice. I feel like he is more comfortable, getting drive or top spin ground strokes back into play on a grass court, and it's kind of more. It's better for him to be able to utilize pace, especially on the backhand side. If you slice to his backhand, he's got no pace to work with, and it's a short backswing. He wants to be able to deflect the pace back. Djokovic doesn't really give you that pace anyway, generally, unless he knows he's able to attack and really push you back and get a short ball. So the backhand to backhand exchange could be potentially, potentially an alarming rally for Kyrgios. If I was him, I would hit my backhand slice a fair bit as well. Make Djokovic get down low on the backhand side. He doesn't mind it, Djokovic, but it's not something that I would say, would prefer. I think he needs to mix it up, Kyrgios. He needs to try and use his angles on the backhand as well, drag Djokovic out wide, and Djokovic might hit some fantastic backhands on the line, but that's just the type of player he is. He's got one of the best two-handers, if not the best two-hander on tour, and the backhand on the line is incredible as well, but he's going to have to suck it up, I think, at times, Kyrgios, and mentally be very strong in that. The forehand-to-forehand exchanges, he can win that. But the biggest thing is going to be his shot tolerance, and is he going to stay patient? Because sometimes he can get frustrated and then go drop shot too early, or he can go too big on the forehand too early, or he'll come to the net in a weird moment. Like early in the tournament, he was slicing like down the middle of the court and approaching the net, and I was like, this is really bad. And then he was getting passed, or he may make the volley, but only because the approach was not good enough. But against Djokovic, you can't afford to do that. So if he's going to approach the net, he needs to be pinpoint with the approach shots. He can't just kind of float it down the middle of the court, floated slice down the middle of the court, and then come to the net and expect to win the point. So that's something that he's going to have to be very careful on doing. And I know he does like to come to the net at times and finish off points to shorten them. If he does that, he needs to then be clever. And I don't think he can just go into the backhand side of Djokovic either, because arguably the backhand is the better wing for passing for Djokovic. He needs to be able to mix up the approach shots, but with the same degree of accuracy. And then he will have some success, no doubt. For Djokovic, he has had a similar issue in the sense that he's tried to shorten points in the wrong moments. He's had a lot of drop shots which haven't been too successful this tournament. The old Kyrgios, it would actually be a very useful tactic because he wasn't particularly fit. This Kyrgios is fit. He's played, of course, a lot of tournaments before Wimbledon. He will try and chase them down, and he has hit some fantastic kind of gets where he's got there and then kind of flicked and manipulated the ball, which is fantastic. Let's see how he goes on with Djokovic. I don't think he wants to be getting tangled in longer rallies with Djokovic, because despite the fact that Djokovic maybe blinks more than he used to in the longer rallies, he's still got better shot tolerance than Nick Kyrgios. And Kyrgios needs to shorten the points, but in a clever way, and that means utilizing his forehand effectively. It means getting Djokovic in uncomfortable positions, and it's tough to do that because Djokovic is so good at sliding and still being able to hit a dry forehand or a dry backhand whilst almost doing the splits. Or he'll hit a slice, but it'll be so deep into the court. It might be floated, but it'll be so deep into the court that it can be quite awkward then to push forward without making a mistake, or at least sporadically making mistakes in those instances. So Kyrgios needs to be clever with it. He needs to utilize the slice serve out wide on the juice side, I think, Kyrgios as well. Make Djokovic move out, and then, of course, it opens up so much of the court. He volleys really well, Kyrgios, to come into the net. I don't think Djokovic's forehand return is going to blaze past him personally. I think he might get some easy volleys there. On top of that, he can also go forehand into out. And Djokovic, yes, as quick as he is, as amazing defender as he is, with Kyrgios' forehand, when he's hitting it sometimes at a sub 100 miles per hour, it's not going to, you'd expect Kyrgios to get it done there. So we'll see. He obviously needs to mix it up and potentially go body as well. I think it was Nori and Sinner have gone body to Djokovic at times, and it's been very effective. I don't think he likes getting into the body. And Kyrgios will go to the body on the serve at times, and I reckon he'll get some success with it. So we'll see. For Djokovic, he needs to get Kyrgios on the run in positions where he's stretching, because defensively he's not as good as Djokovic. He won't be able to do the splits and hit a potential attacking shot or a neutral shot even. He'll be slicing and dicing when he's on the defensive, trying to stay in the rally, keeping it low, keeping it awkward for Djokovic, or trying to anyway. So Djokovic needs to, at times as well, try to be on the front foot. Don't just let Kyrgios be the aggressor and try to dictate all the time. If Novak is able to get on the front foot, Kyrgios won't be comfortable defending. He's not a comfortable defender at all. He's not a bad defender, but he's not a particularly comfortable defender. He wants to be the one on the front foot dictating the points. And if he's not, that's kind of an issue for him. So we'll see how he gets on. Novak will definitely press at times, and he'll try and go big with the serve and then the 1+ plays as well, and push Kyrgios back so he has easy service holds. He will utilize a slice serve on the juice side as well, because Kyrgios, again, like, yes, he's got a big wingspan, but he'll be stretching. It'll be awkward. And on the second serve, that's a big thing for Kyrgios. Kyrgios has to attack the second serve of Djokovic's. The second serve is still not... I mean, look, if we were to compare second serves, Kyrgios' second serve is a level above Djokovic's second serve, at least. Djokovic, a lot of the times, will go second serve into the body or into the middle of the box. Doesn't have a huge amount of pace on it at times as well. Kyrgios does try to be proactive on the second serve returns. I think he needs to be proactive, but also don't miss the returns right as well. I don't mind him stepping in and trying to be aggressive, and I think he should be, because those are the points that really count in the return games, where he's been given an opportunity on a second serve, which isn't particularly harmful. He has a chance there to get into the point straight away and be on the front foot in that return point. It's really, really important that he tries to do that and has a good attitude towards that. I don't think he should be slicing on the forehand or backhand for the second serve return. I think he needs to be hitting a drive, backhand or forehand, unless it's going to be a really aggressive slice that he then comes to the net to, or a slice that's got a great angle on it, for example. So I think he needs to think about that, looking into it, and kind of understand the patterns of play from Djokovic. And then the first serve, we'll see how Kyrgios returns it, because Djokovic's first serve nowadays is pinpoint. He hits a lot of lines. He gets a lot more aces as well. I think he hit like 12 aces today against Cam Norrie, so that's impressive over 4 sets. Kyrgios is going to have to return well. It's not enough just to kind of like shove it back into play short down the middle. Djokovic will step in and pounce, and he'll win a lot of free points like that otherwise. So Kyrgios needs to be clever with the returning. Try and get it as deep as possible for one, and for two, don't be predictable as well. At times, I feel like it's very easy to get caught into the dynamic of, I'm just going to always go across court and try and go as deep as possible. But Djokovic goes slice serve out wide on the juice side, and Kyrgios goes cross court. He's not going to get the forehand down the line that Djokovic is about to hit off the 1+ shot. So, it's just about taking the risk at the right time, and it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to, and also shot selection as well for Nick. So let's see how that pans out for sure. And of course, he's got one of the flattest backhands on tour, Nick Kyrgios, that is. So that'll be interesting for Djokovic to, I guess, battle. And his forehand he has so many different looks on the forehand. He's got high topspin. He can hit it. He can flatten out as well. He has and he has lots of kind of variations in between. So playing Norrie is not actually a bad kind of prep match for this, because Norrie hits very flat on the backhand too, and has a lot of high topspin on the forehand. He's a lefty, of course, so that's not particularly helpful. But in terms of the actual ball that Djokovic is receiving, it'll be quite similar. So something for him to, I guess, ponder. Look, I mean, I don't know which way this one's going to go, in the sense that, the easy thing to say is that Djokovic is going to win, and he'll win in like straight sets, or he'll win comfortably. I think Kyrgios is soaking this in, and I'm hoping he's going to step up to the occasion. I'm going to go Djokovic in 5 sets. I think it's going to be a thriller, and I'm hoping it will be. I wouldn't actually be surprised if Kyrgios wins. I reckon he'll have to do it in straight sets and blitz him. He's capable of doing that, Nick Kyrgios. He really is. But he needs to then hit a lot of winners and not miss, basically. His unforced error account can't be too high. So we'll see how he gets on. Of course, a lot hinges on how Djokovic starts as well. He has had notoriously slow starts in a lot of matches in the past kind of year, 2 years, but then recovered really nicely. So let's see how he gets on as well. Anything else to touch upon strategically? No, I think that's it, to be fair. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, let's see how we go. Let's see how we go. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait to watch this. It's going to be fantastic. Let me know your predictions as well. Who are you predicting to win? What do you think of the matchup? What percentage do you give Kyrgios or Djokovic? Well, thank you very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. Stay safe and well. We'll see you for the next video. Remember to tune in for tomorrow's women's final, live stream commentary, and also on Sunday for the men's final commentary as well. Do check out our final preview as well for Jabeur versus Rybakina or Rybakina, which is already out. Thank you so much, guys. See you later.